Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. This is US Home Talk. We are live every Wednesday at noon and on demand at ushometalk.com or everywhere you find your podcasts. I'm your host, Marcus Walgrave with South Dakota Home Team powered by Hague Realtors, Jason Walgrave with Walgrave Real Estate Group and the Minnesota Real Estate Team at Remax Advantage Plus. We'll be taking all of your questions during the show today. Anything and everything real estate. The call-in number is 612-234-7585. Again, 612-234-7585. Or leave us a message in the comment sections on Facebook. We'll also be answering questions that were emailed to us and questions we received on our real estate hotline throughout the week. Good afternoon, guys. How we doing today?
Doing
Excellent.
fantastic. Before we get started, Marcus, I want to wish Evan, it's his birthday today, baby.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Oh,
Evan.
boy. Thank you.
That's all you're getting from me.
Good.
Sure, I made a couple eardrums bleed there, but
Is it weird? Is it weird that when I sing, my children either cry or leave the room?
No, I don't think that's weird at all, actually.
And they say, "Stop, Dad, stop singing."
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. How young are you today, Evan?
35.
35.
Yeah, all right.
So check this out. So tomorrow you will be closer to 40 than you will be to 30. Have you thought about that?
Yes.
How does it make you feel, Evan?
I mean, another year older is the glib answer. I just can't really believe that. Man, I've caught up with you guys. When I started doing the show, you guys were 35.
Yeah. Yep. That's
So,
pretty wild.
Yeah.
I think Jason wishes he was 35.
I'm 35 forever, baby.
Grandma Walgrave, she was plenty 9
29.
after her 29th birthday. She kind of stuck with that for
Yep.
the many decades afterwards. So
Yep.
29.
60 plus years every year. Plenty 9. So we got a big show planned this morning, Marcus. What do we got?
We do have a big show today, Jason. We are going to be talking about new construction. We've been talking about some national news here the last couple of shows, and one thing that is what we have found out is builder confidence is on the rise. It's no surprise about our inventory. It's low. It has been low. I think some people maybe just got into the real estate market, whether they're buying or selling here in the last, 2 to 3 years, 4 years. They may be referring to referencing the, our low inventory since COVID. But I mean, if you hear anybody who's been in the real estate industry for many, many years, we've had low inventory since the Great Recession. So that has been an issue that has been kind of a burden for our buyers, for almost 10 years plus now. So new construction can be one of those options for buyers out there, where they can maybe get a little relief from whether you're trying to avoid competition. We might get a chance to get Mike Overson. He was super busy today. In fact, he's finishing up a meeting with a builder, as we speak. So he's obviously new construction is top of mind for him right now. But there's a lot of financial institutes out there that offer extended rate locks for new construction. So there's just a lot of appealing things with new construction, and we're going to try to cover as much as we can, with that. So that is today's plan for today's show.
I love it. I love new construction. We have my wife and I. We built our house. Is it coming up on 9? Yeah, it'd be 9 years ago this summer. And I had built a house previous to that as well. So I love new construction. I love the fact that it's new, that no one has lived there. I used to work with a builder. Part of his initial sales consultation is he would bring up the fact that, hey, if you build a house with me, when you move in, there won't be anyone else's toenail clippings in the carpet.
Oh no. Done. Deal.
Done,
Deal. Sign
done.
me up.
He brought it up every time, and kind of a gross little fact, but it's true, right? I mean, if you're building a new home, you're the first one to live there, and if you're building a custom home, or if you get involved early enough in the process, you have the ability to make many of those selections. The colors and the cabinets and countertops. And Marcus, you and your wife have built 2 homes together. Your last 2 homes that you lived were new homes.
Yeah, yep. And something else too. It's kind of crazy. You said that, that your current home is 9 years old. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. So kind of a cool little bit to share. But yeah, I tell you what, Jason, I'm in the same boat with you. I mean, I like new construction as a consumer at a consumer level. I personally prefer it. There's pros and cons to it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's the perfect fit for everybody. But actually our very first home that we bought was a townhome that was new construction.
Oh,
So that's all we've known. We went from a new construction townhome into a new construction single family home into a new construction custom build, single family home. So, it's like you said, that there's a lot of those perks, the no toenail clippings in the carpet or, in the bathroom sink or whatever it might be. But, one thing that I think is important to emphasize when you talk about new construction is the endless options that you can have. It's not just for single family homes. I think especially first time home buyers, they come in there and like, okay, well, I can't afford a new construction single family home. They're pretty expensive, today. So, but you can look at some townhomes or twin homes or some of those multifamily type structures and get into new construction that way. So there's on the opposite spectrum, you can do a multi-million dollar custom home, built by Pebble Creek Custom Homes up in the Twin Cities area. Spend as much as you want to spend on it, and get to go through those phases too. So, new construction can really be for anybody and everybody, and not just residential either. I mean, we had this incredible commercial boom here in the Sioux Falls market. That's the market I'm in, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The Sioux Empire is kind of the surrounding counties, and so it can be a very desirable thing for business owners as well. If you're looking for a location, whether it's residential or commercial, maybe that's the driving force of your pursuit of new construction. So there's just so many options, so many things that you can do and with it, and yeah, when I kind of think about, new construction, Jason, it's so much value there is when you align yourself with the right team. I mean, even with a lot of spec homes out there, if you're not familiar with it, with the definition of a spec, and I'm sure each market maybe have a slightly different verbiage that they use for it, but it'd be a property where a builder is already committed to the build. They're like, what? We have a feeling that the consumers are out there that are looking for this home. We're going to start the build before we actually find a builder for it. And that can be really desirable, even if it isn't for like first time home buyer. There's $1 million spec homes out there. So even the difference between a spec and a custom, like I said, the options are endless.
Yeah, there's, I think a lot of the big national builders and even some of the local big builders, they've done a really good job of providing move-in ready spec homes. And so, a builder, like you said, Marcus, will build that home on speculation that they'll have a buyer when it's finished. And so with new construction in the Twin Cities area, Parade of Homes began last weekend. So for the next month, Thursday through Sunday, noon to 6, there is a Parade of Homes. There are hundreds of brand new homes to tour in the Twin Cities. And so it is it's an exciting time. We talked to many of our existing sellers, and we recommend, hey, if we can get on the market during the Parade of Homes, that's a great time to go live, because there's additional activity and additional buyers out and about. But the national builders, they have, even through the recession 10 years ago, and even shortly after the crash of '07, they continue to build spec homes. They build them, and there's a couple builders that are close to us, national builders, and they've got like 15, 20 specs going at all time. Part of that risk analysis that they take is, or they look at, is the inventory is so low. And like you said, Marcus, has been low for basically a decade. They know that it's most likely that they're going to get those homes sold, and so they keep building specs. And depending, if you're a consumer, depending on where you have that first conversation with the builder, will determine if you can make selections on colors and flooring and cabinets and things like that. Most of the time in spec homes, it's already been determined what's going to go in the house, and so there generally isn't a whole lot of flexibility. But if you're willing to wait, and build time in the cities right now is anywhere from 9 to 15 months, depending on the builder, depending on the development, and how large or small the house is. So if you have the ability to wait, like Marcus mentioned, there are financing options out there that have 12-month or longer locks. There's some incredible builder programs where the builders are buying down that fixed 30-year rate for you. I mean, we got a couple builders that are buying the rates down to mid fives or less. I even saw one at 4.9, a 30-year fixed rate that was bought down by the builder. So great options. I love new construction. There's so many benefits of it. It will likely cost you a little bit more upfront as far as the sale price when you compare it to a existing home. But then if you take a look at the next 10 years, that new home is going to have little to no maintenance costs.
Yes.
Where an existing home, if you buy an existing home that's 10 or 20 years old today, in 10 years, now you're looking at it's going to be 25 or 30 years old. And now we got to start looking at things like roof and siding and windows, and certainly furnace and air conditioner and the main mechanicals. So when you look at the time that you're going to live there, in this case, we're using a 10-year timeline, it's about the same cost at the end of the 10 years. If you're buying new now for a little bit higher price, or if you're buying existing for less of a price, but you're going to have those maintenance costs with existing over the next 10 years that you likely won't have it with new construction. And then depending on what state you're in, building new homes or new construction come with warranties. In Minnesota, it's a 1-2-10 warranty. So you've got a 10-year warranty on the structure of the home. And so there's a lot of benefits to it. And I mean, who doesn't like to go into a new home? It's like a new car that just smells
good. You smell the paint, you smell a little bit of the glue in the carpet, and the plastics that are used to make a lot of the products in there. And Jason, I'm going to jump back here. So a comment that you made about a lot of people who may be shying away from new construction. They always see that initial price, and they say, okay, price per square foot. God, I'm paying more. But in just putting aside the concept of hey, we have some big ticket maintenance items that may be coming with pre-existing down the pipeline in less than 10 years that that you really shouldn't have to worry about with new construction. Not that new construction is bulletproof. I mean, by no means. They're still built by human beings, but I guess what I'm getting at is that when you have pre-existing homes right now, that inventory is the lowest in terms of specific sectors of the real estate industry. Pre-existing is low, and it's lower than new construction. Here in the Sioux Empire, what I saw this past fall prior to the interest rates going up, and it's not like it was forecasted to this extreme of the rates rising like they did. It kind of came on quick and maybe a little bit of a shock, but we had our high volume builders, in my opinion, they said, "Gal, there are so many buyers out there. There's so many people want to get after this. Rates are phenomenal, historically low. We are just going to do and build as much as we can. We're going to put out some incredible volume out there because we're confident it's going to go poof, it's going to be gone."
Mhm.
And a lot of like those high volume builders, they kind of have this idea of saying, hey, we have 20 that we're going to start, 20 that are under construction, and then 20 that are done. So they kind of cycle that through and just kind of continue with the process. Well, as the rates went up and a lot of the buyers that were in the market at that time, they were shopping at the top of their price range, and they just got like, "Oh, you know what? We can't, because we've been approved to X amount of dollars at this rate. And now that rate's a point or two higher. We can't buy that house anymore." And so to your point exactly, we're seeing this here in the Sioux Falls market, builders offering incentives, buyer incentives to purchase one of their constructions. And if you have a pre-existing home that is in good condition, the structure's in good condition, good location, good school district, and priced fair, you're not going to get a seller incentive to purchase their home. Likely, you're going to get into a bidding war. So, when you kind of look at the price per square foot, just because pre-existing hits the market at X dollars per square foot, if it's priced fair and it's in good condition, I mean, you probably need a plan to spend more than asking on it. Where in new construction, maybe you don't need the incentive. There's no, you're not taking a loan out. You're going to be paying cash, especially with the rates, on the rise. You can go to that building and say, "Hey, okay, well, I don't want that incentive because I'm a cash buyer, but I want a better deal on this list price, or I want free upgrades, to be equivalent to your incentive."
Yep.
And so then now you look at, okay, well, hey, new construction does sound like a good deal. I mean, and it's kind of interesting. You have to have a real good understanding of what's all at play. It's not just, price per square foot that you should be considering. There's a lot of factors with new construction.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors, and oftentimes in new construction, the basements aren't finished, and so that price per square footage it's skewed. And so when for example, when I do a market analysis on a home, I'm taking a look at like properties that are relatively close geographically and then have similar styles and amenities. And it does calculate a price per square foot, but I won't compare, for example, a two-story home with an unfinished basement to a two-story home with a finished basement, because that price per square foot is going to be very different, and it's not comparing apples to apples, and so especially with new construction, because the overall price per square foot is higher. If the basement's not finished, it's going to seem way higher than what it is, and so but yeah, the builders out there, they're offering some great incentives. There's some wonderful programs. Today's home designs, they continue to evolve, and it's I feel like every 8 to 10 years there's a new style of floor plan. And if you go back 20 years ago, it was very much everything's wide open, kitchen, dining, living room, it's all wide open. And now the builders in the last 10 years, now they're doing the kitchen, and then the dining is going to be maybe off to the right a little bit, but still open. But it's not this just one giant room feel like it used to be. So you get the most modern and up-to-date floor plans that are available. I mean, constantly seeing new cool stuff that they're putting in new construction, whether it's an office nook or a study nook. I saw a home last week where this was super cool. So it was the stairs going down to the basement. And then, generally underneath those stairs, it's, there's a door behind it, and then it's a closet, right? It's just some storage. Yep. Well, what this builder did is they They opened that space up underneath the stairs. So you got the stairs coming down. It was open, and they built like this little like day bed, like this little bed nook, where you could, read or study or just take a nap. And it was really cool. I hadn't seen that before, but what a different creative use of space rather than just a closet to throw all your stuff in. So new construction gives you, a look into some really cool and modern and new designs.
Yeah, you kind of think about those spaces under the stairs and having that unfinished basement. I think that it's a big reason why there's so much value to, again, having a team to represent you with new construction. It's easy to reach out to the builder and say, okay, well, how much are you going to finish the basement for? And they'll throw you a dollar amount, right? But if you're not in new construction enough to know to ask the additional questions, okay, well, what's that all include? And what type of finishing touches are we talking about? Are they comparable to the upstairs? And then just simply having an idea of like, is that a fair amount? I don't know about you, but not too many of us have general contracted to finish our basement out. And not only that, but it's something too. I see this all the time with buyers. And if you're before I get into that, if you're wondering why do builders put houses on the market with unfinished basements, just to be more price attractive. You can go online and you can see new construction. And you say, oh, golly, this looks really attractive in terms of price. And then you say, okay, well, there's no basement. Well, that's fine. Let's just inquire about it. So it kind of gets that just gets you to them, clicks the property, gets that inquiry maybe started, so it's a good marketing tactic for builders out there, to do that. And we've even seen some builders kind of take a different approach. They looked at it and say, you know what? So many buyers out there who aren't aligned themselves with real estate professionals, realtors who are expert in their market. They just are so stuck on this price per square foot comparison. Mm-hmm. And so when they see new construction, they're like, holy buckets, that's 2 times, what I was thinking about going in. And if that's the price per square foot to do the main level, or is it the same price per square foot to do the basement? Not exactly, not the case. Their subs are already there working on the main level. Yeah. So they're able to do that basement or that lower level or that unfinished space, wherever it is, at a significantly less price per square foot, which then drives that overall price per square foot down. Yeah. We had a couple builders in our market, during COVID, where that was their marketing tactic, was that they were going to just simply finish the basement out. Most people wanted it anyways. Mm-hmm. And they did it because then they could plug that they were doing new construction at this super attractive, affordable price per square foot. And it worked for them. Yeah. It worked for them. And obviously in specific price brackets is where it was more strategic, but nonetheless, it was interesting to see that was a different approach to it.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach. I can see where that would work well. We have a number of builders out here that will they'll offer to finish the basement at cost, and so where there's a builder margin on the home, but as an incentive, they will finish the basement at cost. What I've seen in the last 2-3 years is that even if the builder has a margin on finishing the basement space, those prices have been very competitive. Yes. Meaning if you are the buyer, if you were to go out and hire your own subcontractors and contract it out, you're probably not going to save much, if any. And in some cases, it's going to cost you more because you don't have the volume that the builder does. If you're going to finish it yourself, you're handy and you want to build some sweat equity, that's a different story. But most of our buyers, and we sell a lot of new construction, most of our buyers in the last 3 years, they have chosen to have the builder finish the basement because one, they're not going to save much money, if any.
Most likely cost more, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like you mentioned, they're already out there, right? The framer's already out there, the electrician's already out there, and so And then there's the huge benefit of moving into a house that's completely finished.
Yeah.
And so the first house that I built, I did not have the basement finished. I did, however, have the sheetrock delivered to the basement while the home was being built. But that took, I mean, it took a couple plus years to have the basement finished. And at the time, I was working with one particular builder, and so we worked out some trade stuff. But it was a couple years, and so the home that my wife and I live in now, this one, we decided, look, we want it all done. We don't
Yeah, get it done.
everything done, so we had it all done, the basement, and we've been able to enjoy it ever since. And so depending on what your individual goals are, there's some great options for getting those basements finished in your new construction home.
Yeah, I couldn't emphasize enough in terms of builders, especially high volume builders. They're working with these subcontractors, and these subcontractors have one client, and that's their high volume builder. They know that they're, for the next 3 to 5 years, they are guaranteed to have a full year's worth of work, working for these builders. So, if you think at a consumer level, you can reach out to somebody and get it done cheaper than the builder who has this long-term relationship with the subcontractor. I mean, like, holy buckets. And like that, power to you if you can, but I mean, it's not going to be easy. And then if you do it, it's like, in today's market where there's a labor shortage, who's out there willing to offer their labor, their services at this incredible discount? When there are so many jobs available, it's like, well, maybe somebody who doesn't have much experience, or maybe no experience at all. It's like, okay. And you talk about the do-it-yourself individuals. And again, I mean, if you have the expertise, maybe you're in that trade. You have the tools. I mean, the tools alone can be tens of thousands of dollars to purchase those tools. You got the time to do it. It's not 8 to 5 time. This is overtime. This is, when you're supposed to be done with work, now you're working, and you start adding those things up, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap to do a lot of this stuff. I mean, you kind of think about it too in terms of that, the do-it-yourself. I saw a lot of clients that we worked for, here in the last couple of years. That, hey, we have some people in the trade, whether it's a family member or a friend member or whatever it might be. We're going to do it down the road, a year or two down the road. Well, just the cost and the increase in material by waiting that year or 2 or 3 years down the road had jumped up quite a bit. And maybe that alone pushed them over to where not only did they, live in their house for 2-3 years without this finished lower level or whatever it might be. But when the dust settled, I think at best you're going to break even, but you're going to spend a lot of time into it, in my opinion. Unless, again, like you personally have been, a carpenter for 20, 30 years, maybe you're an empty nester and it's like your hobby, and you can kind of take your time and do it over, because it's fun. And it's like, okay, well, I can understand that. But if you're really trying to protect your investment, you should truly consider just getting the bid from the builder and considering letting them do the work.
Yeah. And then you get to enjoy it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, so many people we've worked with over the years where they wanted to sell their home. They wanted to get top dollar for the sale. So like, okay, we got to get this basement finished, or we got to, finish off the space above the garage, or whatever the case is. And then they, so they've lived there for, 5, 6, 10 years. They finished the basement, and then they go ahead and sell it. And so they didn't even get to enjoy it. So I always, and in some cases, they actually decide not to sell any longer because the basement's awesome. Like, man, we got everything we need. We don't need to sell, which is okay too. But it's, I think it's great to finish it right away, and then you have a chance to enjoy it. So
And I know you can contest to this, Jason, how many times you've gone into a lower level or basement and go in there and look at it and be like, homeowner did this.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. Don't get me wrong, but a lot better than I could do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw any, shady against somebody who's, doing it yourself, but you can tell, they're doing sheetrock and mudding and taping and texturing. That is a skill. Those individuals, that's their one job is to mud and tape. It's their one job to texture, and you can see it. It's their one job to cut the millwork and so every 45-degree cut lines up perfect. You can see that. You can tell that. So when you go into a home and you see it as a realtor, and I'm representing buyers, and we're going through a pre-existing home, if I see it, I'm you better believe it. I'm gonna say, hey, quite certain this is probably done by homeowner. In our market, you have to put the builder's permit sticker in the mechanical room on the electrical panel and open it up, and sure enough, it says permit work done by homeowner, or owner, and so then it's like, okay, well, if I can see it, when you sell it down the road, likely your buyer's realtor is going to notice it as well, and they might say, this is nice, but kind of some corners were cut here and there. And so we're going to bring that up when we submit our offer. Hey, we can, basement looks nice, but there's a couple things that we know we're going to have to go back and redo. We can see that tape line. It's kind of mounted. It wasn't sanded down very well. The texture isn't consistent throughout the roof. We're going to have to redo that. That's why we're coming in the way we are in terms of a purchase price.
Yeah, there's so many components to finishing a space, right? You've got your electrical, you've got your plumbing, you've got your HVAC. I think the two things that I would highly recommend that you hire out if you do decide to do some of the work yourself is hire out the mudding and taping of the sheetrock, which includes the ceiling, probably knockdown. That's probably the most popular ceiling texturing right now, and then the trim carpenter. Make sure you hire that person out. That's the baseboard, and then the trim around the windows and doors, because those are the finishing touches. If you're good at painting, you can get away with painting yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to have a carpet guy install the carpet. So, but that finishing part of the build out is what I'll notice, and you'll notice, Marcus, and that buyers will notice. So, new construction, it comes with new home. Today, new homes they're smarter, and they're healthier,
literally,
and they're healthier, and they're more efficient than ever before. And so, the technology is just wild. You can get about every appliance in the entire house Bluetooth and hooked up to the Wi-Fi, and there's some pretty cool stuff. But homes are they're built a little tighter, so they're more energy efficient. Maybe you need a air-to-air exchanger, some additional things to keep the air quality where it should be. But if you compare, you think about all existing homes, Marcus, that we've seen, and homes that are 25 years old, and you look at the windows in a 25-year-old home, and then you look at the windows in a 50-year-old home or a 100-year-old home, and if those are original windows, there is a dramatic difference in quality and efficiency just on the windows. And then you look at the insulation and the siding and the roofing and so on and so forth. So you're getting, when you build a new home or buy a new home, you're getting the best technology when you're talking about building supplies that there really ever has been. And so it's one of the additional benefits of building a new home.
When you kind of talk about some of those costs too, Jason, you made some big ticket items in terms of like shingles and maybe a furnace, AC, but there's also the little things in cost as well, just normal monthly maintenances that you may not necessarily have with new construction. So you're going to save some money there. And, we have Evan, for the most part, in homeowners insurance is going to be, if you're looking at dollar to dollar, is going to be more affordable with new construction. Obviously, the insurance company would see it and say, hey, we know the roof, the shingles are brand new. we know the siding just got put on and things of those nature. So, there's a really good chance, maybe it's a guarantee that, you're going to get a better policy at a more affordable rate when it comes to homeowners insurance too.
Yeah, certainly if there's two houses that are sitting right next to each other and one of them's brand new construction and the other one is your average 15-year-old home, the new construction is going to be slightly cheaper on insurance. You can attain those rates with existing construction by doing the things that they're queuing off of. Yeah, if you have a brand new roof and you have new siding and you've redone the interior of the house completely, it's a full-blown remodel, you will get new construction type prices most of the time.
Nice.
But
Nice.
but that's additional upfront cost to the home or a big drag. Whereas with new construction, hey, it's move-in day. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. My insurance is like 20% a year cheaper than it would be if I was buying an existing home. That's pretty
Yeah.
slick.
Yeah. That's good
Espe-
stuff.
Especially if you're on a budget. I mean, a lot of empty nesters, snowbirds, that might be something that they're looking to manage very well over the next 5 to 10 years. Say, hey, we want to keep this within this price range, or a monthly cost, excuse me, and that can be one of those things that they can assure themselves that they're going to be able to stay within their monthly budget. Maybe they're on a fixed income, and that's their motivation for that.
Yeah, that's good.
When we kind of look at some new construction, Evan kind of brought up the point about if you were to do like a full remodel job, again, when we talk about like cost of purchasing, if you have a fully renovated home in a mature neighborhood, that's probably the one of the few downfalls of new construction, right? It's likely that it's going to be in a newer development. A lot of young trees. You hope that the developer maybe has some covenants or restrictions saying you have to plant at least 3 spruces and 2 maples or whatever it might be. You hope that's kind of in the bylaws, but a lot of developers, they don't have those requirements, and you could have a new development that's 10 years old, and with the exception of a handful of homeowners that wanted to plant trees, those might be the only trees. So then if we go back to this pre-existing home that's in the neighborhood where there's 50, 60-year-old trees all around, and that, because a lot of individuals, that's what they want. They don't want to be in a new development. They want a mature neighborhood. And that's just going to push that price of that pre-existing renovated home even higher, to where then again, it's like, okay, well, if you want to compare apples to apples, it's not really a fair thing to do compare new construction to pre-existing price per square foot, because there's just so many different factors at play.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the nice things about a new construction neighborhood, so a new development where they've got, many new homes, is it gives you an opportunity to kind of, everybody's moving in at the same time, right? And so you have this bonding experience that you get to have with other families that have just moved into the neighborhood, and so it's pretty cool. It's a different feel than if you're buying in an existing neighborhood. So there's additional benefits. A lot of the new developments now, they've got community pools. They've got some incredible parks and trail systems throughout, and so a lot of exciting, fun stuff comes with a new development and new construction.
We in the beginning of the show, Jason, we talked about the difference between maybe a spec home and a custom build, and having those options to pick things out. If you're an individual out there that looks at it and say, you know what, I don't know what looks good. I don't want to. I'm a super busy businesswoman. I'm working 60 hours a week with my job. I can't get off of work and then go spend 2 hours at the flooring business to pick out, all my flooring. And I should, 2 hours, right? More like 20 hours to pick out selections like that. So, that is one of the benefits of a spec that is maybe further along, is you simply just don't need to make those decisions.
Right.
You know, a lot of builders, they have that insight. They're going to the national conventions down in Las Vegas, getting some really good ideas. The experienced builders are the ones who might be a little bit more conservative on the trendy things and say, you know what, I understand that this thing is this idea is really popping in LA, but you know, we just don't really have that culture here. So we're not going to do that trend. We're going to kind of stay in our lane with what our consumers really like around us. So you can lean on them. In a lot of cases, you know, you can just simply send them a Pinterest and say, this is what we're thinking. You know, go, you guys do the work for us. And then maybe just give us a couple options, you know, 2 options. So we can say yes or no. And that can really help eliminate some of that stress of having to pick a lot of the stuff out.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. Pebble Creek Custom Homes, of course, we are 100% custom builder, so we can build anything that your imagination can come up with. And so, because everything that we've done over the years is custom, we've worked with, you know, all sorts of ideas, and buyers bring in these really wild and cool ideas at times, and it's always fun to figure out how to make it work. But oftentimes we have buyers that come in and they say, just what you're talking about, Marcus. They say, look, I'm not going to the design center on Saturday for 10 hours. I have no interest or time to make selections. You guys just pick it all out, you know, let me approve it or sign off on it. I love the way your model looks, or I love the way the homes that you've built look. So I trust that your style is in line with mine. And I don't want to do it, you know, and because it's stressful. I mean, some people like it. My wife likes making selections and designing, and, you know, and making sure everything coordinates and looks good. And she's very talented at it and does an incredible job. Me, on the other hand, I do not like going to the design center. You know, I don't like matching the countertops with the floors and the wall and you know, I like the finished product of doing it all correctly, but I don't particularly enjoy the task of it. And so that's one of the benefits. Again, if you're working with a custom builder, you can be as custom as you want. You can be as involved or uninvolved as you want. And the sky's the limit with what you want to do with designs and cool features. And my goodness, the technology options are just are staggering and very exciting. So new construction, custom building can be a really exciting event.
You know, probably the last thing I want to talk about with new construction, Jason, with you guys here today is, and I know you can had this same experience, but in 2019, 2020, you get these clients that we work for, and they sit down and they look at the price, they little sticker shock, say, whoa. And in the back of their mind, they always tell themselves, okay, well, you know, we'll use 2020 as an example. At the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, you know, lumber, all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, we're going to wait until lumber comes down. And then once lumber comes down, then we're going to save 50 grand or however much it is, depending on the size of the house again. And then that's when we're going to build. Okay, yeah. Well, lumber comes down 18 months later.
Yeah.
A lot of other things went up, you know, labor being one of them.
Yes.
And not only that, but if they just would have committed to that build, or maybe just simply purchased a spec home that was almost done, and got to reap the benefits of the value of their home skyrocketing over the last 24 months. I mean, talk about how much money did they lose out on by waiting. And now that, you know, they may be coming, reach out to you today and say, hey, you know, we heard some things are a little bit, you know, more attractive. Supply chain is better for, you know, the appliances and et cetera, you know, where are we looking at price? And then you tell them, like, oh my goodness. It's like, well, guess what? You know, in my opinion, if you wait another 2-3 years, it's going to be more expensive.
Right.
In let's say material gets more affordable. I don't see labor getting more affordable anytime soon. The CEO of the National Home Builders Association, made a comment that we've been in a labor shortage since the recession.
Right.
And you look at the unemployment rates nationwide, historic low. So it's like, okay, that cost is going to continue to rise. But developers, they're getting squeezed. It's not, it's becoming more expensive to develop land.
It
And,
is.
it's the same thing with the cities to put in infrastructure, water, sewer, the things of those streets, curb and gutter, those are becoming more expensive. So again, it's like, if something does come down, there's a very good chance that other parts of new construction are going to increase. And then you're simply going to lose out on getting to enjoy your dream home
Right.
over the last 2 years, getting to reap the benefits of having, this, awesome new construction home that's increasing in value over the last 2 years. You're going to miss out on that stuff. So it's one of those situations where, if you got the crystal ball and waiting is the right decision, at least share the crystal ball. Let me see it for a couple of days, I guess.
And waiting is likely not the right choice. I talk about this often with clients, the cost of waiting, the cost of waiting. And in your example, Marcus, if they would have bought 2 years ago, they would have locked into an interest rate they're never going to see again.
Yeah, great point about just the interest rate alone. Yeah.
The appreciation was probably anywhere from 5 to 8% per year during that 2-year period. And so it's important to look at the big picture. What are all the factors involved in making the right decision? And it's not just about the interest rate. It's not just about the cost of lumber. It's not just about the inventory.
Yeah.
You got to look at the big picture and what does it really mean to buy today, and what will it likely mean if you wait, let's say a year, for example. We don't know what the future is going to bring, but we can give you a pretty good idea based on historical data. So we can look back at what's happened over the last 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and we can give you a pretty accurate prediction of what's going to happen in the next year or 2 years. And so, when making those big decisions on whether you should, buy or build a new home, I always say fall back on the data. So fall back on the numbers and take a look at what's been going on, which will tell us what likely will happen in the future. So
we got a question from Wally G.
Mike Wall,
do you have a homeowner or a new construction template checklist for working with contractors? A great question.
Yes, we do. We've got a checklist of questions and to-dos for both of those examples. And so, great question. What I got to finish my basement. I'm going to hire somebody. Now what? I just pick up the Google and search, contractors. And but what do I ask them? What are we talking about? What are the things to look for? I think that it's important to find a contractor that has experience, that is, it is in your relative area. Do they have testimonials and do they have reviews? How many homes have they worked with or worked on in the last number of years? And so, do your research.
How far out are they?
How far
to be able to even doing your job for you?
Yeah, we can get it done, Mark. 2026.
Yeah, yay.
Available.
It's 2023. I think it wouldn't surprise me if there's a contractor out there that is somewhat serious about that.
Oh yeah,
I'm at least 2 years out.
Yeah, I know a handful of contractors that are 18 months out. They are booked for the next 18 months, and if you want to work with them, you got to wait 18 months to start your project. So,
and those are the best guys and gals out there. So if you want to get, again, if a builder reached out to them, they'd say, you know what, we're going to see if we can get this done for this builder, because we'd really like to earn this builder's business down the road. Consumer, this is probably the one job we'll do it for them in a lifetime. So, we may just want to pass on him or her and say, sorry, we're 2 years, we can put you in the books 18 months out.
Yeah.
Good question. With new construction, location, we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about lots out there, choosing lots and working with your real estate professional, super important. We have a lot of growth here in the Sioux Empire, the Sioux Falls area. I know you guys are as well in the Twin Cities, nationwide, really. There's a lot of markets out there that are growing on the outskirts. You want to make sure that what, right now, we have a lot of cornfields that surround the Sioux Falls, the city limits. Guess what? Those aren't going to be cornfields in 10 years, so if you think that that's your backyard neighbor, yeah, sure. Maybe for 6 months or 6 years or 60 years. But, if you're working with the right team, they're going to be able to point you in the right direction, or maybe even have the answer for you. Hey, this is in the city's 25-year comprehensive plan. Commercial is being put up a quarter mile away right there. You're going to have high density multifamily apartments in your backyard. And then on the backside of that, you're going to have commercial. Some information you might want to know if you're building your $500,000, multi-million-dollar home. Guys, our number 612-234-7585. Text, call throughout the week, and we can kind of get after that for you. So, but that's what I got for you for new construction today, Jason.
I love it. Great show, great information. We appreciate everyone tuning in, and whether you're catching us live or later on one of the 15 million podcasting platforms that we're on. We do appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for your support of US Home Talk. As always, you can find today's show and all of our past shows on our website, ushometalk.com. And as you mentioned, whatever streaming website you like to go to. And this is Marcus Walgrave, Jason Walgrave. Mike, we missed you. Evan, thanks for giving us some insurance information. And we hope you guys have a blessed week.
Have a great week.